Well, hello, everyone, all the footsies out there. This is John, or Johnny. Ashley is probably working or doing some crazy awesome bull honky. But I am throwing myself in here real quick to introduce... oh, shit, I forgot I started a show. No, we are not affiliated with that sound that you just heard. That was embarrassing. I'm totally not cutting that out. So what am I saying to you? What am I saying? I realized, and I'm adding this bonus episode before part 2 of Starship Troopers, which I'm sure you guys are highly anticipating since there was a whole episode in between and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you know, I had to celebrate Madonna's birthday. Duh. I'm only the gayest man ever. Anyway, but I wanted to add this bonus episode about the man in the walls because originally it had been in the feed from my Yeti Complex podcast, but I had to stop doing that one because there's just way too much going on and blah blah blah. Nobody gives a shit. But this was such a good, fun episode that we had recorded. Well, I don't know how to explain it. It was fun to record. It was fun to be there, and it was one of those ones that people did hear if you had been listening to my podcast as well, or the solo podcast that I did. But anyway, whatever. You guys don't want to hear this. You just want to hear the damn episode that you guys didn't get to hear. So that's what this is. So I'm posting it now because it's important for you to know this story before you listen to part 2 of Starship Troopers. So I'm adding it in here. So anyway, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Because that's super important to us. We are not going to get known or seen or anything if you guys don't do all that. I know it sounds like a horrible task to stop what you're doing and rate and review us, but it's very important. I can't stress that enough. We're going to stress it every single episode, and you guys are going to hear it, but, you know, whatever. Anyway, so get on top of that and listen to this. Yeah, enjoy.
So you remember how I thought I had an intruder in this apartment,
Which
right?
is why you have the camera.
Which is why I have the camera, yeah. But for I guess since we're recording this, for people who don't know, there was a period of time where I would come home and there was one particular like keystone incident. I came home and I was stopping off at the apartment before going somewhere else. And I think I was going to pick up my dog, Chewy, from, like, somewhere, from my mother's place or something. And I stopped here to get, like... Ooh. Well, maybe I was going to D&D. Maybe I was rushing to D&D and I was, like, picking up dice in my character sheet or something. Yeah. Anyway, I came into the apartment, I ran, I grabbed what I needed, and I left. But when I came into the apartment, something felt different. Oh, and it was... creepy. It was really really uncomfortable, and the only way I could describe it is that, like, the energy in my apartment was different. It made me uncomfortable, and I was like, no, you're just anxious because you're running late. Like, you said you'd be there at 6:30. It's 6:30 now. It's going to take you 30 more minutes to get to, like, D&D or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so I came in, and I remember needing to use the bathroom and not going to the bathroom. I remember looking down the hall and being like, no. It, like, made me uncomfortable. And I left. And when I went and I got in my car, I usually park in front of my bathroom window. And I remember thinking, like, if somebody were in there, they could see me arrive and they could see me leave. And I was like, stop being a weirdo. You just listened to a Serial podcast episode. Yeah. Well, not Serial. What was it? There was a podcast episode where somebody was, like, living in the, like, in the attic.
That one!
Yeah.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I listened to...
It's fucking creepy.
Yeah, it was super creepy. And I was like, you're just scaring yourself, Ash, now. Like, just, like, go play D&D. Go be a nerd.
I'm convinced somebody lives in my walls.
Yeah. Well, me too, Johnny. And so, and when I came home with Chewy. We were, like, in the living room. And there was nothing... Like, it was totally fine. Like, I didn't go into my bedroom or into the bathroom yet because, like, I didn't, like, necessarily need to. We were, like, watching TV or whatever. And then there was a thump, and I know I heard that thump like that was a real thump because Chewie responded to that thump. He perked up and he looked over and he was like, whoa. And I was like, oh, it's just the neighbors, right? Because like I hadn't lived in an apartment with Chewie, in a new apartment with Chewie in a good while. Like we lived in like the same one or whatever. And so every time we go to a new apartment, he gets spooked by all the sounds, you know? And so I was like, no, it's the neighbors. Don't worry about it, bud. And then like I got ready for bed. I went to the bedroom and then I was like, oh, you should go to the bathroom before sleep. I go into the bathroom and I look at myself in the mirror and I see in the reflection of my mirror.
What is it? I'm freaking out already.
The blinds in my window are pinched open. Like somebody was looking out the window.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it was horrifying. And I couldn't remember. I was trying to remember a time when I looked out the window and pinched them open to see out the window for whatever reason or another. Like maybe a visitor or maybe like to see if my car's still there. I don't know. And so like I saw those blinds pinched open and I like had a tiny panic attack and I was just like, you're a crazy person. You're freaking out over nothing.
He's probably
go
in the
to
closet.
bed. And I went into my bedroom and I
freaking out so
and I closed the door. By the way, I'm telling John this story in my apartment. I haven't
with my back to the situation where it happened, and there's lots of doors.
And so,
oh god, I'm sweating.
And so I went into my bedroom. I crawled in the bed, and I did what I always do. I overthought everything. I stayed
Please tell me you covered yourself with all the blankets ever.
Oh, well, I pulled the blankets up, and all I could think about was like, all right,
cover your neck.
Yeah. I was trying to calm myself and being like, all right, well, like, if I were an intruder and I were still in the apartment, like, because I was like, there's somebody in the shower, maybe they're behind the shower curtain.
I would have immediately looked behind the shower curtain.
Are you? No. What if they were back there?
True, but I would fight them.
So here's the situation, John. If they're in the apartment, they're also not attacking me for a reason. And that reason is because they don't want to. But if I were to, see them, they would have to attack me.
Because they're in your apartment.
Because they're in my apartment. But maybe they just want to slip out.
I check the... It's
I couldn't do it.
Instinctual thing.
In that moment, I could not do it.
Even if I'm peeing in somebody else's bathroom that I've never been in before and their shower curtain is closed, I have to.
Well, I do that too, but in that moment, I was certain that there was somebody in my apartment.
You say, what would you do if somebody was behind you? I'd be like, stranger, don't look at my penis.
Yeah. So, while I was in bed, all I could think about is all right, Ash, if you were in someone's apartment and you needed to get out without making a noise, what would you do? And I was trying to think about how my door, because I had just moved into the apartment, and so the paint creaks from when the door opens and closes because they had just painted over it or whatever, and it still has those little cracks and such. And it's the same for the windows are stiff and whatever. I'm there's no way they could get out without making a sound. And I was so that tells me that there's nobody in my apartment. And I was but if it were me, what I would do is I would probably set off the fire alarm so that it could mask my sound and so I can get out. And I was
How would you set off the fire alarm though?
With a lighter or something.
Yeah,
but there's also a test button. Oh, the fire detector is right outside the bathroom.
Oh.
There's one outside the bathroom
and
there's one in my bedroom.
You don't have the sprinklers things?
No, I don't.
Those
to break the glass?
Yeah, that freaks me the fuck out.
Well, yeah, and so I was so there's no sound, no nothing, everything's fine, whatever. I go to sleep. I wake up at 4 a.m. to my fire alarm going off.
No. Oh my god, there's somebody in your apartment!
And I was I knew it!
They're the walls.
And so I got up, and the fire alarm stopped, and I was maybe the battery's dying, and that was a weird way of it alerting me that it's dying. And so I get my ladder, I go up, and it turns out the test button was just the test button. I just had to hit the test button again because it was going off and then stopping and then going off again. And so
the thing came on it now.
My security system just lit up.
Oh my god, we're being attacked.
Yeah, and so I was maybe you dreamt that. Maybe that was a dream because it stopped I didn't have any other incidents until, like, I got up to the fire alarm and, like, started, like, messing with it, you know? And I was like, maybe you scared yourself so hard, Ash, that you dreamt it, had a nightmare, and woke up thinking that the fire alarm was going off. And I was like, all right, no big deal, right? I mean, it was a big deal, and I was having panic attacks, but I was trying not to make it a big deal, because, like, also, what if it's a ghost? I don't want a ghost to know that I'm upset.
Ghost.
You know?
Now, a ghost is different. I like the ghost.
Yeah. And so
John relaxes slightly.
And so I was like, all right, fine, no big deal. And then every now and again, I would come home to my blinds being pinched open. But I didn't have the same energy feeling as I did the first night. And so I'd be like, maybe your towel's hitting it, Ash. Maybe your towel, when you're getting out of the shower, is plopping it open, like, or whatever.
That's a very specific
I know.
thing.
Dude, I was trying to figure it out. Because I didn't want there to be a person in my apartment.
I don't want a physical human in...
Like, and so I was just making any excuse possible. And then my cabinets started to get left open. The cabinet in my bathroom, and sometimes the cabinets in my kitchen. Not very often. And then it was just, like, getting weirder and weirder. And then I had, Rachel was walking Chewy, like, in the afternoon from time to time. And there was a time where I had left a key under my mat for her. And because I'm a weirdo, I taped it to the bottom of the mat. And, like, I had masking tape and, like, packing tape so that it was, like, flat and flush, and it wouldn't leave, like, a shine or color or anything, so that, like, if a person lifted the mat to see if there was a key underneath, that they wouldn't see anything, and they wouldn't have anything to, like, spark their interest unless they were looking for a key to be taped under the mat, right? And so I left this key for Rachel, who knew it was there, and she...
It's not there anymore for our listeners, right?
No, I wouldn't. Otherwise, I would not be telling this story.
Yeah, please
I would not be telling this. I have better hiding spots. And the reason for that is I came home...
Nobody knows where you live.
I lifted the mat, and the key was gone, and the tape was gone. And I was like, oh, Rachel kept the key. Awesome. Like I didn't think it was, like, any big deal. Like, I just hadn't seen her in person.
Oh, my God.
And then a week went by, and then she came back... or the weekend went by, and then she came back, like, on a weekday when I was at work to walk Chewy, and she was like, hey, did you move the key? And I was like,
no.
I was like, I'm sorry? Oh my God. And I was like, I forgot to tell you about the day where I checked under the mat to see if she still had the key. That day, I went to the apartment, I had this very uncomfortable feeling, and I think that it, like, had in part... I justified it by, like, whatever, like, I was going through that day. It wasn't a good day for me. And so, like, and I came into the apartment. Chewy was freaking out. And, like, I had that same feeling as day one. And I went back and I looked under the mat and, like, to get the key because I felt so uncomfortable. But I was like, oh, Rachel took the key. Good. I was like, Rachel kept the key. And so... and I was just like, good, because now I don't have risk of, like, an intruder coming in, because I was, like, feeling uncomfortable. And then, like, she came and she was like, did you move the key? And I was like, I thought you took it. Oh my God, I thought you took it. I thought she took it, John. I thought somebody else has my key.
Like to this day?
Yes. And so I called my front
There's
office.
somebody here right now. Oh my God.
This is the first time I've told this story in the apartment, by the way, because I was so freaked out at the time.
Oh my God, there's probably somebody in the walls.
I never talked about it in the apartment because it made me so uncomfortable because I thought that somebody might be living in the walls, that I didn't want them to know that I knew, so that they didn't have to kill me.
Ashley.
And so...
Please don't kill Ashley. She's a lovely person.
And so I had the locks changed.
Cohabitate. Oh my God.
I had the locks changed that day.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Well, that next available business day.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and so they changed it while I was at work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That makes
and,
me feel
like, I printed up new keys, and, like, you know, and I gave one to homegirl, and she had on, like, I gave it to her, like, no. And so...
Yeah, don't tape it under the mat.
Yeah, and, like...
Physically give it to the person.
I also think that she felt bad about the situation, even though I was just like, I'm gonna leave it under the mat. Like, there was not a time where she was like, could you leave it under the mat for me? I was like, nah, it's fine. So that was, like, 100% on me. Like, where I already had blinds being pinched open, and I still felt safe enough to leave a key under the mat, a mat for a person. Well, taped up, but like...
But...
Right. So it was definitely 100% my fault. Anyway, so the key changes.
But not for the person taking your key.
Right.
It's their fault, you freak.
Well,
not unless you're in the wall.
And the key changes.
Please don't kill anybody.
And stuff doesn't happen for like a little bit, and then it starts to happen again. And at this time, I purchase a security system, and I have set it up, right?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
How much did it cost?
This costs $300.
Holy fucking shit. Okay.
I was spooked.
No, I mean, I get it. And
also, my dad helped me because I told my dad the story, and he was like, "What?"
It's worth it. It's worth it. But
he was like,
"I
bought one at Best Buy. You can go pick it up whenever you're ready."
Because
he was also worried.
I have no money, so I'm.
Yeah. Well, that camera in particular was $150, and I want to say the rest of it was $150. But
now,
that's
what
an
is the rest of it? No, not unless it's going to give away secrets for security.
It's motion sensors, it's door sensors, it's window sensors.
Oh, okay.
So it's like different like moving sensors. So like the video camera is that camera which I bought after the fact. So I set up the security system.
So the security is just for opening and closing doors and windows and stuff.
Well, also internal motion.
Oh.
Yeah. And
but what happens with the internal motion? What happens?
If there's a movement, and it says it doesn't track pets, so it's usually a movement between like a range that happens. It'll like clock it as motion detected, and it'll if you're in away mode, and there's motion detected inside that is like more than like a pet, it'll trigger the alarm, and it'll set it off to like so that you can like punch in the code to like the little bump 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 like the little timer bit.
Okay. And
you can punch in the code and like disarm it. Or if you don't punch in a code, the alarm will go off. And so I got this system, and I was still seeing pinched lines, and so like I set up the system, and my motion detector kept going off. And John, it was going off so often that I was contacting the company because I thought it was defective. Because it was going off too frequently. It went off like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and went off at 2 in the morning. So it wasn't like the light, because I was like troubleshooting it, trying to figure out if it was like lighting that was setting off the motion detector, like the internal motion detector and stuff. And then, because it was one particular detector that kept going off. And I was
Where?
Like, and I was like, this one right here.
Oh my God.
But also, I set that one there because it covers 2 of the main entrances.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And so it kept going off, and my alarm kept sounding. I kept getting calls from like the police and stuff. They were like, "Oh, we're on our way," or like calls from like the manufacturer that's like, "Oh, so we've already like dispatched the police and like whatever. Do you like, are you okay?" Like, because they'll contact you immediately after your alarm is like triggered. And so I was going to exchange my whole system. I was getting so frustrated. It was going off like 3 times in a day. And I contacted, because I was checking everything. I checked behind the fridge to see if there wasn't like a full space behind it. I had my brother come up and climb up into like that crawl space above the apartment to make sure there wasn't like any person in there. I was like,
wait, where's the entrance to this crawl space?
Outside the door and like up.
Why the fuck is it outside?
Well, it's like a workspace. And so, like, I guess it's for, like, if somebody were to work on, like, the air ducts or something.
Okay.
It's a workspace. It's not...
why is there access for it outside?
It's not for my personal use. And so, one of my running theories...
No, I'm sorry, because that's fucking creepy. Okay. There should never be outside of your personal space that there's a way to get into the ceiling of your apartment.
Well, I don't think...
I'm sorry.
I don't think there's an entrance...
That's not
from
the point.
Ceiling. Okay.
No, because right there, that big thing right there, the exchange,
that vent.
Rip that shit out, and you can walk right down.
Well,
if you're in that space,
if you like unhinge the vent. Yeah. Oh, I guess if you unhinge the vent.
So fuck that. That should not be outside of your apartment. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah. So that's outside the apartment, and
I'd lock that shit.
I was convinced. Well, it's locked, and I would always check to see if the lock's turned too, because I was going mad.
Oh, so it is a lock on it.
There's like, no, it's like hooks. And I was seeing it, and I always check to see if the hooks were turned a different direction. You know, like it's like, I'll show you. It's like kind of like on an old-fashioned gate, like the little hooks into the hole.
I mean, still, I'd get a fucking lock of some sort.
Yeah, and just like
no
lock it up.
lock.
It's not mine though. It's,
I don't care.
It's my complexes.
I don't care. I would tell them. I'm like, I'm putting a lock on that shit.
Yeah. So
you can eat my ass.
My running
Not literally.
Hot.
Unless you're a sexy person, then please come over and eat my ass.
Yeah. And so I had a running theory that
Vulgar.
it was somebody who either used to live in my apartment and maybe they didn't change the locks, or it was somebody who works at my apartment and maybe they had a key to this person. Maybe they had a relationship with the person who lived here before me and they just came in and used the bathroom whenever somebody was home. Or maybe it was somebody who just has access to the apartment, which is like any maintenance person.
Yeah, but that's still inappropriate.
Yeah. And so I was thinking that maybe they're just using the restroom. Like, maybe they're just coming in, using the restroom, and leaving. Yes, it's wildly inappropriate, Sean. But what made it super uncomfortable is that my motion sensor for the front door wasn't going off, but the motion detector here was going off. And so I was like, maybe it's messed up. And I was like, and I was looking at different cameras, and so I eventually decided on this one, which is like an outdoor camera, but it also has night vision, and it has the light that lights up. Like, I was like, no. And so I had purchased that, and I had called the executive director of the complex because I didn't want to talk to anybody else, because if it is somebody coming in, if it is an employee, I didn't want them to know. I wanted them to be done, you know. I didn't want to like scare them away or make anything like different or worse or whatever. And so I called the director and I talked to her directly. I told her about the incidents. I gave her a better history because it was more fresher in my mind of everything. And then she sent somebody over to check it out. And that guy was like, oh, maybe your motion detector, like, is catching your dog. Because maybe your dog's jumping on your couch. And I was like, he's jumped on my couch. I didn't say this, but, like, he's jumped on my couch plenty of times. And it doesn't go off. It goes off erratically. And it also goes off when, like, me and my dog aren't home. When the compartment's completely empty. Don't think I wouldn't have justified that. Don't think I wouldn't have, like, whatever. And so after he left, I installed the camera literally the next day. I told her, like, she was like, oh, you should probably get a video camera. And I was like, I'm going to pick one up today after work. And so I had picked one up, I had set it up, and I didn't have a single incident since I got the camera. My motion detector also hadn't gone off, and they're in the same room. I increased the sensitivity of the motion detector to, like, detect everything, and it doesn't go off when I'm not home. And, like, Chewy's not, like, out here. Like, my dude, at least once a week, I think about how that only just confirms my fear that there was a person inside my apartment, that everything stopped the moment I got a video camera. My electronical problems suddenly came to an end. I don't have to return the motion detector because the motion detector still works. It just doesn't go off for no reason. My blinds aren't pinched open or anything like that. And I think about this so often, or at least once a week. And so last week, I came home, because I worked late and I came home at like 11:30, midnight-ish, and I'm walking Chewy, and I was walking him like in like a patch, like over, like off to the side that's like well lit or whatever, because it's late. And I was thinking about it that day, about how, like, isn't it funny, like, that everything stopped? Like, everything stopped after you got the alarm, like, you got a video camera? And I'm like, I wonder what it was, who it was. It had to have been a person, because if it was a ghost ain't gonna worry about that. No. The ghost ain't gonna worry about no camera. No. And so, like, I was like, no. And so,
but who would it be?
Right? And so I'm walking Chewy, and what I was thinking about is, maybe they found a way around my system. And maybe I need to put more detectors in like blind spots, right? And so I was thinking about that, and I was like, that's a silly thought because your blinds aren't propped open. And as I'm walking Chewy, I hear a thump, right? And I look up, and I see in my window
no,
a silhouette of a person.
Motherfuckers!
And John,
Motherfuckers, no!
I was like, that's not my window. That can't be my window. That's not my window. That can't be my window. And I was staring at it. I was staring at it hard. I was staring at this dude in my window. And I was like, well, is that my bathroom window or my bedroom window? And it was in my bedroom window. And I was like, maybe that's it, because I didn't have detectors like directly, like I was like, maybe that's a blind spot, you know, maybe they're getting in a different way, maybe there's a hole in my closet and the closet goes down to the floor below me or something, like, you know, like in those, like when those old speakeasy homes. Oh
my god.
Yeah, and like there's not enough space in my walls to do that, but I was like, do they see me? And are they looking for me? Do they see me looking up at them? And I see, and I'm like, that's not a person. That can't be a person. That must be like my like curtains or something. And then I see the figure, and I see the head, and I see the head turn, and it looks like it's looking at me. And I was like, I got to commit to this role. And I keep walking towards the apartment, and I was like, please don't be my window. Please don't be my window. Please be a different window. Please be a different window. And I'm staring into the eyes. I can see the reflection of this person, and I'm like, I have to go up there. Now I have to go up there, and I have to end this. And I'm like, and now I'm trying to get like hyped. Like I'm trying to get in the mind frame to like go into my apartment knowing full well that there's a person in my bedroom. And I go and I get closer. I'm starting to tense up, and I'm like, maybe you should call 911 before you go up there. No, they're not going to get here in time. That person is going to leave, and I have to know. I have to know, because this has been tormenting me forever. I have to know. And I get so much closer, and it flies away because it's a fucking owl, John. It was a fucking owl against my fucking window. And
What do you mean it's an owl?
Yeah, the owl flew away, and there was a lizard between the screen and my window, and the owl was pressed so hard against my window that its wings went flat, and it looked like the shoulders of a person. There was nobody there.
Wait, no, you're freaking me out. Hold on, wait a minute, no. Do you mean...
It was an owl. There was nobody in my apartment. It was an owl pressed against my window. The thump was the owl trying to get to the lizard, and then the owl seeing me, thinking me as a threat, and I'm also thinking the owl is a threat, and I'm going at the owl.
It was inside?
No, it was outside the window. Because it was just a silhouette that looked like a person.
Oh my god. Oh, because the light was on inside the
Yeah,
apartment?
my light was on inside the apartment.
Oh
and I couldn't
god.
see that it was an owl until it flew away.
Oh my god.
And I was just like, oh yeah, that's right, Ash. Your apartment's safe now. Like, you don't have to be scared anymore. But I have like PTSD from it.
But there was still somebody in here.
There had to have been, yeah. But then I was like, thank God it was an owl. Yeah. Yeah, but my camera turning on the light from time to time, that's a new thing. So I'm gonna have to look into that.
Well, that's probably a ghost.
Yeah, that's probably just a ghost.
That's fine.
Or I think it's when like power goes out or something.
Oh my god.
That was a long story.
That was a
roller coaster.
Freaking me out, dude.
Yeah. So I don't know where that person is. He or she.
You know what? If you're out there,
Probably
fuck you.
listening to this. Yeah.
Fuck you. Don't do that. Oh. I'm convinced there's a person living in my walls.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, same deal.
I actually
open
gave him a
blinds.
name, and he's been on my podcast. His name is Marvin Malanky. My name is Marvin Malanky.
Is that how he sounds?
Yeah.
In the walls?
I like mayonnaise.
Help me. Help me.
No, he's not. He doesn't need help. He wants mayonnaise.
Oh,
he needs
just mayonnaise packets?
No, mayonnaise, just out of a jar.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, he's gross. But
Oh,
he's
Marvin.
I don't, I mean, you know, but to this day, like, I mean, just yesterday, there's noises in my walls, and I don't know what it is. It fucking freaks me out. I'm like, what was that? Like, loud. Like, the cat notices it and everything. Jason never does, because he's oblivious to whatever. Like, it'll happen while he's sitting on the bed with me, and he still doesn't, like, he's like, I'm like, did you hear that? And he's like, no.
Yeah,
you're paying attention to your phone, not the
only
walls.
reason I know I'm not crazy is because Chewy responds to the same stuff.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The cat definitely does. Now, I know that our house is haunted for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But, because it's old. It's an old house. But And that doesn't bother me, and especially ghosts. Like, I'll talk to them and be like, "Look, dude, or lady, or whatever. Like, don't fucking freak me out. Like,
Yeah.
do your business. I don't give a shit. Leave me alone. If you materialize in front of me, I'm gonna have a problem." I say that to all ghosts all the time, because I've had many houses that were haunted, and I'm like, I just say it
You're
straight
like,
up.
I don't want a relationship
Like,
with you.
I don't care that you're here. You can do whatever you want. You know, you can open up a closet door, whatever.
Yeah.
But do not materialize in front of me. If I wake up and you're staring at me with your fucking freaky ass face, I'm gonna die. So don't do it.
Oh, I have stories about that in particular.
What? Like
Well-
ghosts up in your face?
Sort of. Well, at the end of my bed.
Oh. Well,
Like,
I think
materialize
that would still
at
freak
the
me out.
end of my
Especially
bed,
since
and
I don't have like a bed that has like the foot of the bed. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah.
what do you call that?
The foot of
The
the
foot
bed.
of the bed. You know what I'm talking about.
The
But it's
header
like
and the footer.
the headboard and the baseboard or footboard.
It's a footboard.
Like, there's none of that on the edge of my bed, so my feet are like dangling off the mattress. So I would have a problem if there was a ghost there.
Yeah.
Because don't touch my feet.
They're just playing with your toesy woesies.
No, don't touch my feet. Don't touch my toes. And you know, every time Jason walks by and I'm like on the bed, he tickles my foot and I'm like, God damn it, stop it. I mean, he doesn't know that I don't want to go there, but he just does it because. Anyway, but
He's gonna listen to this unless you
He's
cut
not
it
gonna listen
out.
to this. Jason doesn't listen to anything. I don't even think he listened to the episodes with him on it.
Oh, what a fun fact.
Yeah, he was like, I don't want to listen to that. I was like,
Okay.
okay.
I didn't think I would listen to our episodes,
I mean, I kind of have to.
but well, yeah, you would have to. But I listened, and then I always listen. You know.
I listen to him all the time.
Oh.
Anyway, do you know what else?
Well,
I use
little
music in my
creature.
podcast all the time. I just want to
Yeah.
I just want to shove this out into the universe. I use music
On the Yeti
and
Complex.
on the Yeti Complex. I definitely do. On ours, I have. I mean, Dick Tracy had a bunch.
Yeah.
Because I just have all 3 soundtracks. So I was
Yeah.
like, I've got to have some music in here. But and I try to limit how much is in there because I know that there's rules.
Yep.
But I listen to so many other podcasts that clearly do not have the rights to things that play whole songs, and I'm like, you know what? And they're sponsored. Like, people get sponsored.
Ooh.
And I was like, you know what? You're doing it. I'm not going to do that completely.
Right.
I rarely play a whole song.
Mhm.
Very rarely. But the only times I'll play whole entire songs is if it's a Prince bootleg. And I'm like, well, nobody actually has this except for nerds.
Mhm.
So I'm going to play the whole thing. So if you ever listen to Yeti Complex and there's like a whole Prince song, you should know that that's probably an unreleased Prince song. Just for the record. But I'm saying, my whole thing about this, and this is for the
Whenever I
listeners out
listen to
there.
the Yeti Complex and I hear a Prince song, I assume it's some niche Prince song
It
because
probably is,
you
yeah.
are you.
Yeah, because I wouldn't play all the hits. Randomly.
No,
I'll put
you
something
did
in,
mention
yeah.
that you refused to play popular Prince for your sister when she would
Yeah.
request it.
Yeah, you're not gonna get that.
Yeah.
But no, but I use some music in mine, and I figured, and this is, like I said, out to the people who might be listening to my podcast to what do you call that? Scrubbing it for songs that I'm using illegally. Just know that if you want me to remove the episode, I'll fucking remove the episode. I really don't care, or I'll cut the song out of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a big deal to me. Like, those songs do not add what do you call that? What do you call that? It doesn't add...
all I
it
can think
be
of is
removed.
depreciation.
Yeah, it doesn't
Is
depreciate my episode if I remove the song.
Yeah.
So, if it needs to be taken out, I'll fucking take it out.
Yeah.
But until then, I'm just going to do what I want.
Do what you want.
Because it's my show.
And scene.
Your level of funkosity can be increased by sharing the funk with other carbon-based life forms.